Hey, it's me, GV, and welcome to probably the final Nine Souls guide. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for Eigong, which, oh my god, this took so long to practice and get good at, because this is the true ending, which if you don't know, you basically have to do a whole bunch of side quest stuff to get like a bomb, and that enables you to get the true ending, which adds a third phase to Eigong. So that third phase with the other two phases is so challenging. The first phase is doable, but the second and third just really take a lot of resources. And my god, this was hard. So anyways, as far as my build, this loaded me to a previous save, so I had to basically like switch everything around. So I think this should be accurate, but just know that I basically did everything. I did miss some achievements here and there just because there was some missable stuff that, you know, if you're not looking up a walkthrough or something, you're not really going to see some of the stuff. For instance, smashing the kid's clay pot. But anyways, this should be what I had. Water flow, huge here, very huge. The other talismans might be better, but this one just worked with my strategy. The Shadow Hunter, good for just landing hits without having to aim, and then transmute unto life, which, yeah, doesn't really matter because you're not going to be killing enemies. Maxed out Medicine Pipe, Azure Bow, yada, yada, yada. Now, here's the jades that I use. This is totally just my strategy, so, you know, I'm sure there's like a strategy out there that's like a million times better. But Focus Jade, basically to empower my charged strikes, which doesn't really do much, but it's just nice to deal an extra little chunk of damage. Hedgehog Jade, which basically allows every time you do a precise parry to inflict some internal damage, which then you need to place a talisman to trigger that internal damage. And then the Reciprocation Jade, which whenever you take internal damage and you do an unbound counter, which is the charged counter, that internal damage will go to the enemy. And then finally, the Breather Jade, where if you hit enemies with a slash attack, you will recover some internal damage. So I'm sure there's a better combination, but this is what I use. Now, there's going to be a lot of stuff to go over here because this is easily the hardest fight in the game. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so Eigong. Jeez Louise. Yeah, this is the true ending. So if you didn't do all the stuff, you'll only fight the first two phases as far as I understand. But this will be for all of the phases. So we're going to immediately launch an arrow, and that's because our death drop there will give us a free arrow and some HP as well. So we basically get a free arrow right off the bat. Now, this first phase is pretty easy once you get the hang of it. She'll always spam this talisman attack, and your brain will recognize when she's doing it, like the symbol of the attack. And basically, all you want to do is jump and Tai Chi counter every single time that she does it. And she'll constantly take internal damage, which then you want to trigger with a water flow talisman, which is why the water flow talisman is good, because you can just, you know, make sure to land it, and then it will just trigger that internal damage. So she just did the dash there, which you always want to be in front of her, because if you get hit by those wind slashes, you are going to take a ton of damage, and it is going to be awful. Now, when she does this ball attack, I'm sure you can do an unbound counter. However, I always try to basically just dash to the left out of it. As soon as I see her bringing up that ball above her head, I am moving to the left and then dashing at the last second. Actually, I think eventually I learned to dash immediately and then dash again right before she lands. You can probably counter it, but I never did that strategy, basically. So yeah, this first phase is definitely by far the easiest because, again, she'll just constantly spam that talisman attack, which you can always easily punish. Your brain will really, you know, get the hang of constantly punishing it. Now, really what makes her challenging is these flurry of attacks that she does. Your brain will also start to recognize when she's about to slash, and basically she can mix it up a couple of ways. So what you want to see is kind of like on the third attack, her foot go up, because that means she's going to dash into you, and that's way easier to reflect. What you don't want to see is that right there when she kind of stabs at you, because she'll do it twice or 3 times, and it's really difficult to perfectly parry that. Even after all the times that I practiced, it was so hard perfectly parrying the 3 stabs every single time. Now, when she does this slam kick here, you simply want to dash to the left or to the right. And depending on how far away you are when she lands, she'll oftentimes follow that up with that dash attack, which again, make sure you stay in front of her, and then you can easily use the talisman, once there's a little bit of a delay, to basically place the talisman on her, get behind her, and slash her a whole bunch of times. But do not get caught up in that wind attack. It is awful. It will deal so much damage to you if you get caught in that. It is truly, truly terrible. So, yeah, as you can see here, again, she's just spamming the talisman attack over and over and over again. My brain got so good at just immediately seeing that and then jumping and tapping L1 to deal internal damage to her. There's that wind slash, so I'm going to get in front of her and then talisman back into her. There's another talisman, so jump and Tai Chi kick. Easy peasy. And that's all that this first phase is, really just constantly waiting for her to spam that talisman attack, Tai Chi kicking her, and then making sure to land a talisman eventually so that you can trigger all of that internal damage on her. And then, yeah, just the slashes are the only thing that makes this difficult because, yeah, if she does the pokes, like the 2 or 3 pokes, you really got to get the timing down, but it's so hard to get it perfectly. So you want to hope that she does the dash instead, which is way, way, way easier to perfect parry. So there's the ball, so I'm immediately running to the left here. You'll get the hang of the spacing, whether you need to dash or not. Also, a thing with the ball is whenever she lands with it, it's a good opportunity to do a charged attack because she'll basically just walk towards you after the ball lands. So here's that stab that I was talking about, really the only thing that makes this first phase tricky, because sometimes she'll add an extra stab at the end of it, and sometimes she'll just spam it constantly. Like, she will literally just keep poking you nonstop over and over and over again. It's actually insane. But yeah, every time she does that dash that she just did there, you want to land a talisman. You should be having tons of talismans with this build. You'll always have key charges, so you can basically always be placing down a talisman, which will constantly be triggering her internal damage. And as you can see, there's another talisman, and now we're going into phase 2. So for phase 2, you want to charge up an attack or shoot an arrow or do whatever you want to do, because you do have like a frame or two of free damage as she's transitioning to phase 2. So you can see here, I'm going to let loose it here before her health bar even comes up. Now she's always going to lead with this. So this is how I started this, and you got to just get good at the timing. I jump, I dash, and then I get ready to L1 and then L1, and then I get ready to dash into her again. And then immediately I'm going to land and place a talisman. I didn't land there. And then release my charged attack. So that's what you always want to do. As soon as you see all this fire coming out of her. See, here I'm kind of screwed because I'm too close to her. So I think I end up getting hit. But yeah, once you see the flames start to come out of her, yeah, you want to dash through the first one, then parry, then dash again. And later on, she can mix it up with the wind slash dash. So you have to be ready for that too, to stay in front of her and then, place a talisman into her to get behind her. But yeah, phase 2 is very similar. She just has some extra attacks. So here comes the pokes. Once again, she'll just go and go and go and go. And then she's going to slam with this. Now, the interesting thing about phase 2 is that when she does the talisman, as you can see here, when she does that, she will now follow it up with some weird stuff. So we're going to have to, right here. So this attack is so bizarre. There's a slow one and there's a fast one. Now, she just did the slow one there. So if she does the slow one, you have time to unbound counter for a long time, release it, and then deal some damage. The problem is that there's another version that will be much faster, and it basically comes down to feeling it. If you practice this enough, your brain will just be like, oh, that's the fast one. And then you just want to get away because she's always going to follow it up with the big ball explosion attack. So you just want to basically be running from her, as fast as possible if it's the fast one. And she always does it after the Tai Chi counterable thing. So here she goes again. She's going to do the Tai Chi thing. I'm going to kick her. And now I'm looking at what she's doing. I'm going to dash because she's going to follow it up with a slash. And then I'm looking to see if if it's the slow one and I can counter it. And it is. So I charge the charged counter. And then I hit her, and then I make sure to get some damage on her. You really don't have a lot of time to be able to deal damage to her, which is kind of crap because, there's just so much going on. But yeah, you want to make sure if it's the slow one, try to counter it. If it's the fast one, just keep running to the left. This might be the fast one here. Let's see. No, that was still the slow one. Yeah, the fast one will basically like do a pillar of fire, and then she will always follow it up with an orb slam. So you just want to run as far away from that as possible. Now the fire's coming out again, so I immediately run back. I dash through the first one, L1, L1, and then I watch what she does. See, she mixed it up, so now I have to get in front of her, and unfortunately I get tagged by the wind slashes. It's so difficult because it's just so fast. Okay, so here she's going to do the fast version like I was talking about. So I Tai Chi kick, and I'm immediately looking to dash in the air to avoid that, and then I can tell this is going to be the fast one, so I immediately start running to the left because you basically just don't have time to parry it, and then she'll always follow it up with the orb slam, but I'm already way off camera there, and then I'm always charging an attack whenever she does an orb pretty much because you'll always have time to like land a charged attack. Now, here comes the waves again, so dash through the first one, L1, L1, and I get ready to dash, but no, she's going to do the wind slash again, so I immediately try to get in front of her, and then I talisman back into her there. I could see the talisman coming out, so I use the Tai Chi kick, and then I dash out of the first slash, and I'm trying to gauge whether or not it's going to be fast or slow. That one's fast again, so immediately I'm just running to the right side of the map to avoid the inevitable orb, charging up an attack, and then releasing it here just like that. So that's basically it for phase 2. You want to do the same things as you're doing in phase 1. You just now really want to be careful when you Tai Chi kick her because she'll always kind of rise up into the air and then do either the fast or the slow attack. Sometimes she just does that slam as you saw there. But yeah, you really have to get good at getting in front of her when she does that wind slash so that you can counter her with some damage, but also because, yeah, if you get caught in that, it is so over. Like, it just deals so much damage. Big tip here is do not be hasty. Like, really, this is a very reactive fight. Like, you're seeing what she's doing and you're reacting. Like, don't be greedy. I waited for the right moment there to take her into phase 3, and here we go. So once again, same thing. You can lead off with a talisman or a charged hit, depending on what you want to do for a free hit right off the bat. And this is also where you want to spam your arrows, and this is why the homing arrows come really into handy because she's going to be dashing all over the freaking place here in phase 3. So I'm charging up an attack and getting ready to loose it, kind of like right about here, and I think I hit her. Yep, I sure do. Okay, so in phase 3, she does these full screen slashes. Now, they're very, very intimidating. Yeah, she'll either do 3 whites or like 2 whites and a red. Now, you cannot avoid or you cannot block the red one. You basically just have to double jump out of it or dash out of it because there's no way to do the unbound counter in the air. So the best way to do it is kind of just play it safe, see what she's going to do, and then save your double jump for the last second or your dash or both. Now, if it's the white slashes, you can actually parry them. So what I like to do is kind of just dash as she's doing 2 white slashes, and then if I see the white line coming in, I'm timing it and then tapping L1. Now, the big thing that you want to do here is what we just did. Basically, when she does that slow red slam, you really want to do the unbound counter so you can get some free damage. And you want to hope that she does it often, because if she does the big, slow red slam and you can counter it, consistently, you'll always be able to deal damage to her. And this is really just a damage race because at this point, you're going to be using a lot of your resources. So you want to damage her down as much as possible, which again is why you want to save your arrows for this phase. Now you can see there, I just parried that final slash. And also, you want to go for the Tai Chi kicks whenever possible, but keep in mind, she's also going to do, that as soon as you hit her with the Tai Chi kick, she's going to do that upward slash. So just like in phase 2, you have to get ready to dash out of it or else she'll hit you and everything will get interrupted. And outside of that, make sure to constantly use your key charges as well whenever you get a chance to do it. So we're going to get a chance to do it here. Dash through the red wave, L1, L1, and then I'm looking to see if she does a red wave, but no, she's going to do the slashes. So I try to get out of that. I immediately see it's red, so I'm just making sure that I'm out of the red area because you cannot counter it. But if it's white, I'm trying to time the L1 to block the last white slash. So here she comes. There's the unbound counter with the slow fall, and then I try to land a talisman, but I don't think I'm able to do it. Now here come the slashes again. It's red, so I'm just letting myself fall because there's no way to counter it. And then she's immediately going to go into the other slashes. I'm trying to time the L1, and I get it there. So yeah, this is the most annoying thing. Just because, you know, when you first get into phase 3, it's so hard to practice it because she'll kill you so quickly. And notice here, she'll still do the fast slam, so I know the orb's immediately coming. So I'm running away and I'm charging up an attack because I know that as soon as the orb dissipates, I'll be able to release an empowered charged attack here. And then here come the slashes again, which is just so hard to get out of. But yeah, I mean, I still took damage there, even though I like double jumped over the slashes. Sometimes the hitboxes in this game are a little crazy. But yeah, this phase is basically all about conserving your resources until the end, using them here, and then also getting used to the 2 slash attacks. Because everything else is largely the same, you know, as phase 2, basically. So yeah, that's basically everything, and unfortunately, this is really hard. Like, honestly, way harder than the vast majority of stuff in this game. As you can see, I barely killed her here with, you know, a tiny little bit of HP left. But keep in mind, if you do get those parries, you can regenerate your HP, which is nice as well. But yeah, this took so much practice. This is so difficult. I mean, the amount of people that have beaten this on Xbox Game Pass is very low for like actually beating the game with the true ending. But down goes Eigong. I hope this guide helps because there's so much stuff in this, and a lot of it's just gonna, you know, come down to getting used to the timing. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed 9 Souls. Subscribe for more guides, and I'll see you next time.